It's Mike Tangreda. Thanks again so much for listening. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm really excited about this episode because I've put together what I think are 7 important fundamental laws that you should be applying when you are either running a business or even, quite frankly, in your personal life. And I love these 7 laws. You know, we've all heard of these different laws and principles in business, but I went through and I kind of, gathered what I thought were like 7 of the most important things that I could follow, and hopefully I can share to not only my team of personal trainers, but also to anyone listening here in this episode. So I'm so thankful for here. I'm super excited about this one, and I'm gonna get started right away. So basically, I start my day. The most important 10 minutes of my day is actually scheduled and scripted the night before. And let me explain this a little. So I've actually been working with a coach over the last several months, and he's really big on planning your perfect day. And it's actually helped me quite tremendously. I've done this to some sort of extent previously in the past. Maybe I've had sticky notes or wrote down kind of what's on my agenda, what I plan to do the next day. But really, with working through my coach, there are a couple of things that I realized that needed to be, completed, and that were important to me in planning my perfect day. And it didn't mean I was gonna do, the meaningless tasks, maybe like invoicing or chasing a client down for whatever, and creating a program. No, it was the meaningful tasks that helped me really propel my business. So basically what I do every night before bed is I plan my perfect day. And basically my perfect day usually starts after, my son gets up and our nanny arrives. So it's around 10 a.m. And I will, I'll spend my perfect days, my morning between, 7 and 10 is spent with my son. And then after that, I go straight to work. And it doesn't mean that I'm going straight to tasks that are probably going to be, Monday tasks, everyday tasks. I don't do those right off the bat. So I really script out my day and what are the most important tasks that need to be completed or accomplished to help me move my business forward. Okay, so I'm not doing tasks such as maybe invoicing or interviews or emails. Like I won't even touch email usually until the afternoon. So I've time blocked and scheduled the most important tasks when I have the most energy. And it may be different for you. Everybody's a little different, but for me, it's usually, after my nanny comes, I'll have a cup of coffee, I'll sit down and I'm like super focused. And so that's where I schedule my perfect day in advance. And this is really important. So if you're not scheduling your perfect day, I can tell you're missing out on a golden opportunity to really grow your business. So I'll literally script out, and I'll give you an example of my perfect day from last week. It's literally like 10 to 11 a.m. It was work on funnels. That's a really important thing for me right now. I've been working a ton on funnels, driving Facebook ads. So I'll literally work on that, and nothing is going to interrupt me from 10 to 11. And then from there, from 11 to 12, I've scheduled, okay, now we're going to go through Facebook and drive some ads here, and we're going to get campaigns set up. And so again, really important stuff. I don't touch my email till about 2 o'clock that day. And I'm actually got a sheet of paper here of how I scripted my perfect day last week. And then, then it was on to Facebook ads at 12 o'clock, and then running emails between 2 and 3. And then I actually had some interviews as well lined up. So it's really important, and I want you to make sure that you're scheduling your perfect day every night. To me, this is the most important 10 minutes of my day, and it's usually done at the end of my workday or whenever it inspires you. But for me, I usually either do it right when I'm finished my workday, or I do it right before I go to bed and really script out my perfect day. And it is amazing. When I actually follow this script, like between 10 and 11, let's say, I actually complete my funnels and everything I needed to do. And, where in the past I may have said, okay, I'm going to work on funnels in the morning, and I may have dragged it out to 12 or 12:30. And for some reason, I don't know why, but when you don't script like how long it's going to take you, you actually tend to work on a subject or a task a lot longer. So when you script your day and know that you only have an hour, you're really down, you're really focused, and that is my number one fundamental law to success in business. So make sure you're planning your perfect day. I highly, highly recommend this. There is an awesome book written by Greg Ballantyne called The Perfect Day Formula. Check that book out. I highly recommend that as well. It'll help you plan your perfect day, and it's something that I've been doing over the last several months, and it's really, really helped me propel my business. Task number 2 is, or item number 2 is, don't go down the rabbit trail. Now, I know I've talked about this previously in other podcasts and other videos, but this one is super, super important. Again, when you're planning your perfect day, it's very easy to get down and go down through the rabbit trail. So the reason you plan your perfect day is so you won't go down the rabbit trail. Let me explain what the rabbit trail is if you haven't heard this before. So the rabbit trail means, okay, I'm going to work on my funnels. It's so important to me. I want to get my funnels launched because I know that's going to drive my business forward. Okay, so that I'm doing between 10 and 11 a.m. Now, let's say a phone call comes in at 10:30. Do I answer that phone call or do I let it go to voicemail? You probably know the answer, but I let it go to voicemail because I'm not going to go down the rabbit trail. Because if a phone call comes in, and it could be a client, or it could be an issue, or it could be, someone rescheduling, I may be spending now the next half an hour going down that rabbit trail, and that is something you do not want to do, okay? There are a ton of valuable resources to not go down the rabbit trail. I've suggested them in other podcasts, but what I do is I use a lot of things and the technology that we have to my advantage, and I really leverage that out, and I hope that you're doing the same. So for instance, I have a toll-free number now, so I'm not answering the phone anymore. So we've had a toll-free number for years, but that has freed up an enormous amount of time for me. So all calls go to a toll-free number. While I'm working on my funnel, now I know I need certain elements for this funnel. So I need certain videos, or I need certain pictures. I need things that are going to go in my website funnel, and graphics. But again, if I were to try to do this and go down the rabbit trail, I would not get to where I want to go, which is ultimately launch this so I can have more sales. So you see, you don't want to go down the rabbit trail, and you got to catch yourself every time you find yourself shooting down that rabbit trail and getting off your main task. There are a ton of resources. Technology is super, super powerful these days. I highly recommend that you look at where you can free up your valuable time. I love using a website called freelancer.com. That's where I get a lot of our graphic design, our photographs, things like that. It's really, really amazing. You get awesome people doing work for you that are professionals in it. I'm not a graphic designer. Why would I spend 2 hours trying to design something that's probably going to look crap, and the guy that I paid maybe 20 or 40 or whatever, $50, he could do it in probably an hour and get me something that I need exactly the way I want it, professional looking. Because remember, when you're online and you're promoting things, and whether it be online or offline, you want your stuff to look crisp, sharp. So that is my tip for number 2. Do not go down the rabbit trail. Have a sheet of paper beside you, have a notepad. Every time you find yourself going down that rabbit trail, see if there's a better way. And in today's day and age, there is a better way, trust me. And if you don't have funds, obviously you'll find a way. I've talked about this as well. Bootstrap it. Do whatever you can. But you don't want to go down that rabbit trail, especially if you have a vision of what is your particular goal, okay? So that's number 2, and a really, really important task and fundamental task, and something that I preach regularly. If anybody has listened to me, they know that's something that I preach. Okay. Number 3, and this is more about, I would say these next 5 laws that I'm going to share are more about what would cause me to fail in the past, or what I think would cause anyone to fail in the past. And these are nothing new. These have been sent, out before by many various different authors. But these are just things that I've sort of handpicked, and ones that I try to follow a lot. So number 3 would be lack of persistence. And let me explain this a little bit. So, you have a vision, and you may have a goal in mind, and most of us are amazing starters, right? We're really good at starting something, but what ends up happening is we're really poor at finishing off where we began, okay? So more people are prone to give up at the first sign of defeat, and that is something that I don't want you to do. So you want to be persistent. Obviously, persistence comes with having faith in your vision and where you want to go. So make sure that you're persistent, right? The person who makes persistence his hatchword discovers that old man failure finally becomes tired and makes his departure. Failure cannot cope with persistence. And that is so true. So I want you to make sure that you're persistent with your goals. Some of the most successful entrepreneurs out there have been persistent for years and years and years. And there's a few examples that they're escaping me right now, but there's people that have made billions and it didn't come for like 20 years later when running their business. So make sure that you're persistent. Obviously, it's something that you need in business and you need in life. So I do highly recommend that you stay persistent and keep towards your goal. The next one would be procrastination, and this one is really huge. I struggled with this, and I still struggle with it from time to time. It's one of the most common causes of failure. See, old man procrastination stands within the shadow of all of us, waiting for his opportunity to spoil one's chances of success. So basically, we all fall victim to this. At least I do. I know that I can procrastinate a lot, and that's why some of the things that I do now, like the perfect day formula, scripting out my perfect day, really helps me not procrastinate, because I know that between 10 and 11 or 11 and 12, I've got to do these tasks. Otherwise, I'm just basically failing myself, and the last person I want to fail is myself. Okay, so I hold myself to a high degree, and so should you. And so that's really important. So procrastination, start where you stand and work with whatever tools you may have at your command, and better tools will be found as you go along. So don't wait. The time is never going to be right. Oftentimes, and this is something that I coach a lot of our team with, a lot of times I'll hear this all the time, is a trainer will come to me and they'll be like, yeah, I'm just, I'm waiting to get my social media together. I'm waiting to get my website together. I'm waiting to get my Instagram going, my Facebook going. And basically, they are procrastinating. Nothing is going to be perfect. Nothing will ever be perfect. I'm always a believer in getting out there first, taking action, and then course correcting along the way. Those who take action are the ones that are going to succeed. Okay, so make sure that you're taking action continuously. Look at all the times that you're procrastinating. I bet you we're all doing it. It's a commonality that we all have. Catch yourself when you're procrastinating and try not to procrastinate. Action beats procrastination always. So remember that, and that is universal principle number 4. Number 5, and this was a big one, it's a lack of a well-defined purpose. You see, there's no hope for success for the person who does not have a central purpose or definite goal which to aim. Okay? I would say probably 98% of us, okay, and more often than not, the people I've talked to don't have a direct aim, a defined purpose of exactly where they want to go. And I've used this analogy many times before. It's like the ship without a compass. If you do not know where you're going, that ship, you're the ship. And if you don't have a compass, you're going to basically be wandering the sea forever. So know where you're going. You always want to be 2 steps ahead, okay? So make sure you have a well-defined purpose. That one I can't stress enough. If you don't have a well-defined purpose, literally sit down, take an extra 10 minutes at night, think about what your purpose is, think about where you want to go, and then hold that vision top of mind. If you need to write it down or create a vision board, something that you can see this every day, this will help you stay towards that defined purpose. And that is so huge. So often I see people that, even when we do coaching, I'm like, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 3 years? And you should be able to answer that, okay? So I know that I have a defined purpose, and I've mentioned this before, like we want to have 100 trainers by the end of the year. So what is my defined purpose? That is it. But then I can break down even further. Okay, this is what we need to do. We need to have 4 extra trainers come on per month to hit our goal to have 100 trainers. So I've really narrowed down and defined that purpose, and I urge you to do the exact same. So make sure you have a defined purpose of where you want to go. Make sure that you visualize it or have it up on a vision board or somewhere, put on your phone, your screensaver, whatever that's going to remind you so you keep going towards your goal. It's going to make everything much easier, and that's a really important one. So that is universal principle number 5. Number 6 is intolerance. And But let me explain intolerance here a little bit. So basically, what I mean by intolerance is, you're not going to basically have, you're not going to be cautious, okay? So the person who takes no chances is generally someone who is not going to succeed, okay? So you want to make sure that you take chances, and basically over caution is just as bad as being under cautious, okay? So make sure that you're doing that, and also make sure that you're open-minded, okay? So the person with a closed mind on any subject seldom gets ahead, okay? And what I mean by that is also make sure that you are constantly in a learning mode, okay? So once you stop acquiring knowledge or think that you know everything, that's the day you're probably going to end up going backwards, okay? So you should always be looking to acquire knowledge, always looking to better yourself and become better. So whether it be reading books or following a website that's something that inspires you, but you want to make sure that you're always moving forward, okay? And I love this quote here, and it's one that I've said a few times now, is never trust a man whose TV is bigger than his bookshelf, okay? And that is something that I look at now myself, and I'm like, okay, I have a pretty big TV, but I also have an amazing bookshelf, and that is something that you should be applying. So always be in a learning state, always never think that you know everything, okay, basically, because the minute you think you know everything is the minute you're probably going to be 5 or 10 steps behind, okay? So that is what intolerance is, and that is number 6, a really important fundamental lesson. And then the final one is lack of concentration or effort, okay? And this is one that I've heard through other mentors, coaches, and a lot of times we want to do a ton of things, okay? And I heard this actually from a coach before, and he's like, you know what? You may have like 10 different ideas, but you only get 3, okay? So the jack of all trades seldom is good at anything. So remember that. The jack of all trades is seldom good at any. Okay, so concentrate all of your efforts on 1 or 2 definite chief aims, okay? So literally, I kind of like 3. So I have a different couple of chief aims, but rarely am I, if I find myself that I have way too many ideas that are going past 3, I'm like, okay, I'm going to narrow down and focus on the 3, because I'm a big believer you only get 3 and you focus on those and you make them work, as badass as you can. So that is number 7, lack of concentration of effort. Remember, don't try to be a jack of all trades, because those jack of all trades rarely get anywhere, okay? So focus your aim on 1 or 2 definite chief aims. I prefer 1, especially if you're first starting out. And then once you get comfortable with that, you can start adding another chief aim or another major goal, okay? So those are the 7 fundamental laws of success that I love. I hope you found a ton of value for them. I'll just go over them again. Planning your perfect day, number 1. Don't go down the rabbit trail, number 2. Lack of persistence, number 3. Procrastination, that's the big killer in most of us, number 4. Lack of a well-defined purpose. Make sure you have your purpose all set up. That's number 5. Intolerance, number 6. Remember, the person with a closed mind rarely gets ahead. Make sure that you're always learning. And the number 7 that we just talked about, lack of concentration or effort. Hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. As always, you can subscribe wherever you're listening. We are now on iTunes. If you have an Android device, wherever you're listening, make sure to subscribe. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I'm Mike Tangreda, and thanks so much for listening.